Hey everybody! I don't know what happened to our intro, man. It's like freaking StreamYard is breaking down. It's breaking down, man. All right.
In this podcast, we count down from 0 to negative infinity.
Yeah.
-1.
Yeah, I wasn't able
-2.
to get my intro up, but hey, here we are. We're DebateSensei.
The music was good. I like the music.
Stuff. We're fine. We're fine. We got Matt Shapiro, Esquire.
Hello.
With the seal of California in the back. All right. Tim CV is not here. He is attending a wedding between his two cats. They've been holding it off for a long time, and it's really nice to see them really take the plunge and make that commitment. So, really nice.
Good for them.
Good for them. All right. We got ourselves a Thanksgiving edition, everybody. Thanksgiving. So, listen, whenever I think about Thanksgiving in terms of like argumentation, I'm like, holy moly, if there's any holiday that is associated with argumentation more than Thanksgiving, I can't think of it, right? It's like it's known for disagreement. Like people kind of expect that sort of sit down at the table and let's hash stuff out. Not like let's hash stuff out, but it's like, oh man, I know I'm going to get an earful, you know?
You're talking about like family and things like that? Or are you talking about like the first Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Or family talking about the first Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm just talking about modern times. Just oh my God, I know there's going to be some arguments that are going to be.
It's going to be good too, because I mean, more than normal, which is, we see certain people more than others, but anyone who's been like locked up COVID style for the last couple of years, this might be the first like, hey, I haven't seen Uncle Chuck in like 6 months or whatever, a year, and maybe they've been just in a echo chamber, or who knows? And hey, we have been in the echo chamber. Look at us. I mean, we've just, I don't know what the heck we're doing these days. So,
I like to think that to keep myself humble, and then I listen to some of the crap I hear from other people. I'm like, no, man,
you're wrong. You're objectively wrong, and I'm objectively right. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not out of touch. All right, cool.
Right. I tend to agree. I'm a true psychopath, sociopath. I'm right. And I don't care if you think you're wrong. Think you're right, whatever. I'm right.
All right. So we want to tackle just the multitude of things that create disagreement during Thanksgiving, starting with the origins. All right. And so this is
like the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the first Thanksgiving, right? And so people. Okay, so the reason I wanted to talk about this was because, like a lot of like white dudes growing up in the 80s and 90s, you're given the story about like pilgrims and Indians and like the first one that happened and stuff like that.
And everyone was happy, and they all brought things on willingly, and everything was fine.
Well, and there was the first one, and it created this sort of annual tradition. Right. That was the other thing that you learned.
There's a connotation, or I mean, look, someone please, I hope someone's watching, and if you are watching, correct me. But there was some inference where, like, the new pilgrims were kind of having a rough winter, and like they were helped, they were provided some food, and so there's this whole positive spin on
when I got older. When I got older, I heard the stories about it's like, no. Thanksgiving was all about like dominating Native Americans and like they were like, and I'm like, how can these two stories, how can they coexist?
Well, Jared was there, luckily, so he can be able to tell us all about it. What do you remember from back then? You were what, like 24 at that time? Style has changed probably for the better.
I always wondered how these two very, very different stories could get like. Somebody has to be wrong. You know what I mean? It's because like it's not like I'm like in one story these people are getting along. They're from like different worlds, as close to different worlds as you can get, and they found a way to kind of coexist at this one time. That's the story that you get. And then there's another one. It's kind of like no, it was just absolutely brutal. I'm like those two, like one of them just has to be an outright lie. And so I was looking it up more in order. And this is like when. So I want to take a moment here to point out, like, that's the moment in argumentation theory that's known as stasis. That you're like, well, these two things can't exist. Like, which one am I going with? How do I know which one. And so that kind of
the Schrodinger's cat moment where you don't know, maybe you thought something your whole life, and then you read something else, and now you're like, whoa, what do I think actually?
Well,
in
like
that
the
moment.
opposite. Yeah. It's like these two things can't coexist at the same time. They can't be. And so you have to kind of go, all right, which one am I going with? And
stasis.
Yeah, it's a
good
great word. It's a great word. Not enough people use it, let alone pause. And that's what
I do a lot of tantric stasis just in my oratory to kind of keep everyone up the end of their seat. You know what I'm saying?
Stasis is this moment where you pause, you kind of go, these two things can't exist. I'm forced to choose between them.
Or learn more. I mean, there's probably some more truth.
It's like in order to choose, that's what I do. As I make sure and I go and I learn more about it. And so
just because one of your uncles tells you some crazy story and the other uncle tells you a different crazy story doesn't mean there's a lot more to know than just that, and you can just walk away.
I don't think enough people take that moment to kind of go, holy moly, I'm at a point where I have to make a choice, and they don't really savor in it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, this is an opportunity. This is going to kind of define me in a sort of way. And so I always try to find
it will definitely define your reality in a certain sort of way. Your reality,
right? Because like you can't have one that's just brutal and another one that's like this sort of cooperation story, and like you just can't have both of them, right? And so the more I looked into it, it's like both of those things do exist. They just weren't at the same year, right? And so it was like 1621, which is the event that basically like
Mayflower. Pilgrims.
That's what they cherry pick because
allegedly a turkey. Something about a turkey.
Those things did happen. They did happen. They did have that sit down, and they weren't killing each other. It's like the Native Americans helped them to grow.
For one day, they all stopped killing each other.
Yeah,
and they were thankful.
There was that one day, all right. But
crazy. Allegedly,
the Wampanoag tribe, they were doing it for like really, really political reasons. Like they had enemies to the west of them, and they were trying to make allies to the east of them, and those happened to be the separatist pilgrims and stuff like that. And so it was kind of like that, but they only sent warriors to the feast. It wasn't like families went over there. It's like they made sure to outnumber the Puritans 2-1 with warriors at this place, and they and they had a feast and stuff like that. And I guess like the pilgrims were like shooting rifles, and that was just like scaring the hell out of these Native American warriors. And so like even though they were kind of chill for that one time, they cherry picked that one event. That's it's not that it didn't happen, it's that they made it rosier than it was, and they cherry picked that one.
It was like the worst
examples.
It was the most unsuccessful peace treaty that we celebrate the dinner that they had. I mean,
well, I mean, it wasn't even a peace treaty. It's like they just decided not to kill each other.
I'm just joking. Like, what if that day defined the moment for the rest of time where we just stopped all problems with each other? And we all just got along. Nope, that wasn't that day. We just had turkey. Everyone home used the rifles on each other. I mean,
So that was like
back to business as usual.
Oh, I get it. So that happened that one time, but it was like the subsequent things. Like there was a lot of times where they were celebrating Thanksgiving or they were giving thanks during the fall harvest, which is really common. Right? Yeah. But they would include the thanks of defeating their enemies, which were usually these quote unquote like savages, right? And so Thanksgiving was way more associated with, or there's just way more examples of that happening, but people want to focus on the nicest one. And I'm like, okay.
In one respect, it's as good of anything to celebrate, I guess. I mean, even if it was like 5 minutes of peace, it's like, hey, we still celebrate that to this day. You're right. I mean, I think, there wasn't some grand, peace made. It was between a local group, like within, a vicinity of each other. And they didn't speak for everyone, in any sort of racial way or something like that. This does remind me, people are asking, what is critical race theory? People are asking that all the time. And this is kind of one of those things where it's like, well, what did you learn in school? And then did they absolve any sort of, undercurrent of
that'd be
tension
kind of like,
and problem?
on the educational level. On the
Yeah.
critical race theory is usually on like a legal level, like finding that there's like institutional laws and policies.
Right. Well, I guess what I'm saying, Jared, is whatever institutional law and policy allowed whatever book you read when you were in fourth grade, there's a line of rules and laws that created agencies and boards that got a book on your desk. And so I understand, and you're right. It typically has a more, but in education, which right now, it's kind of a topic, people are arguing, what is this? It's like, well, it's one easy way to think of it is just when you look back at what you remember from school, if you remember anything at all, and just realize how it's been sucked of any context, which is beyond this happy story where everyone was chilling for 15 minutes eating turkey.
It wasn't for like more than 100 years that like nobody called it Thanksgiving. It wasn't until like 1786 that people even started referencing it.
The words
it wasn't even until the Civil War that it was officially recognized. We're talking 200 years later of nobody really caring one way or the other. They had fall feasts. Everyone has fall feasts because that's when you harvest. That's when you eat all the stuff that you just picked. Right? It's like that's when it happens. And so like that happens across the globe. But they only started really sort of cherry picking this one time.
It's when you can pick the turkey off the turkey trees.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Like
they're ripe.
So I want that's when people talk about the history of Thanksgiving. Yeah. Like I made sure to give myself a little bit of better understanding, and I wanted to pass that along.
There's a cornucopia of things to learn about the history of Thanksgiving, and it may not be what you remember from your elementary school in 1974. You know what I mean? There might be more to it.
I want to take this moment to transition to like what foods we want to kind of mention an event that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I do St. Baldrick's, which is a charity event for children's cancer research. I'm posting up the link right there for people to donate. It's a good charity. I've looked into a few different charities of, as far as the quality and level of professionalism. They're very good. Personally, it means a lot to me as well. Go ahead and visit St. Baldrick's. I like doing that every Thanksgiving. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, before we move on, I want to go talk about food because I love food. The smartest thing we ever talked about on this podcast is coming up in the next 15 minutes. But one thing you started, and you're like, well, Thanksgiving, everyone's always arguing. I was going to say it's funny because it's also very doesn't cause a big stir in a certain way in that it's not inherently religious, if that makes sense. It's kind of like an American holiday, and it's an American holiday that doesn't have a religious source. Yeah. And, so of all the things you'll argue about with your uncles and aunts, it might not be the existence of a God or something like that, which so many holidays that you meet up with everyone is based in religion. So Thanksgiving is not. It's very American. I don't think they celebrate Thanksgiving in other countries.
No, I read something that like if England or if every place celebrated. No, wait. If England celebrated every time that they like dominated some native population, that they'd have Thanksgiving like twice a month or something like that.
Oh man, yeah. There is context here that needs to be addressed, and hey.
And you know what? Independence Day, we have 4th of July in America, but Independence Day is literally the most popular holiday in the world because most countries in the world celebrate independence from England.
Really?
Yeah. Like a majority of countries actually have a day where they say, this is where we were independent from England, and they celebrate it every year.
Yeah. It's got to be tough being, really prideful Brit on those days, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. What could have been.
Okay, let's talk about how to cook a turkey, because that's a point of disagreement right there. A point of disagreement. So,
All right.
all right, how do you do it, man?
Well, first and foremost, everyone, all 7 million of you watching right now, should know that I have cooked a turkey several times in my life for Thanksgiving for my family, all by myself. I was pretty proud of myself. The first time I did not use a bag. When I say a bag, I mean you go to a store and ask for a turkey bag, and literally they have these plastic bags that you can put in an oven. And yeah, it's probably loaded full of stuff you don't want in your body, but it keeps that butter up tight. And if you're like me, then I'm kind of lazy. You know, I'm lazy. I'm a lazy cook when it comes to 6 hours in a turkey. Okay, so yeah, I kind of set it and forget it. And when I didn't use the turkey bags, it was kind of dry. But then I used those turkey bags and moist, real moist. Mm-hmm. So I prefer the turkey bag. If I had to make a turkey tonight, you brine it and you turkey bag it. What do you think, Jared? Let's argue about this.
Yeah. So I always like really overcomplicating things when it comes to cooking. So you brine it.
First of all, we agree on that.
What? Oh, you agree on that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Brining. All right. No stuffing. No stuffing.
Okay.
All right. Like the stuffing is way better if you just cook it separate and you don't have to worry about any sort, catching anything.
De-stuffing.
Yeah. So, and then you spatchcock the turkey.
Now, Jared, this is a show for children. Please keep all that to yourself, or explain what that means.
You crawl up on top of the turkey. Okay, you crawl on top of it. You get a nice firm stance, and then you just spatchcock it.
Thanks.
It means that you actually cut the spine out with scissors, like cooking shears.
Like my victims. I mean, yes, like cooking shears. Right.
You press down on the breastbone until it pops, and it kind of flattens everything out. So it makes it like only a few inches thick. That way you can cook the whole turkey in like less than 2 hours.
Hold on. You're saying that you do not have a identifiable turkey at turkey time. Is that what you're saying?
Like a big round ball of meat is the worst shape for cooking. It's just the worst shape for it, right?
But you just said you liked overcomplicating things. So
yeah, so spatchcocking is the overcomplicating part. You have to take the chicken.
No, but big round balls of meat is complicated.
Yeah, it is. Like to cook it all the way through with an even amount.
Right.
And not only that, but the different types of meat require different temperatures. The dark meat and the light meat is like as soon as you get the dark meat to the point where you want it, the white meat's all dry. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't do it the other way around.
Unless you use those bags, everybody.
Yeah. But the spatchcocking means that you can cook it faster and you get way crispier skin on it.
Why do you want to cook it faster? Like, what's the point of cooking it fast? In fact, I don't want to cook it faster. I want to wake up at 3 a.m. and cook a delicious turkey for my family, just like we've always done it.
Oh man,
like the Pilgrims did it.
Yeah, just like the Pilgrims did. They had stuff like they ate like seal and lobster at the first one. They did
seal and lobster.
Turkey. Yeah, seal. They ate seal.
Little surf and surf.
Yeah, just
is a seal turf? You know, I mean, it's kind of. It probably tastes more like a. I've never had a seal.
Kind of probably be pretty fatty.
I've eaten some pretty interesting food in my life. I've never had seal yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Not yet.
Except the living ones off the beach that I find. Those ones I eat, but never cooked.
Anyways.
Okay. So look, Jared, we can argue about this. You want to argue with me? I don't think you should be spatchcocking anything, especially telling minors to go spatchcock things. I mean, you're gonna get arrested.
Listen,
and
man,
then
you really shouldn't knock it until you try it. If you give spatchcocking a try, I think that it'll grow on you. Man.
Look, my uncle tried to spatchcock me a few times when I was 5th grade.
I think you should ask for it.
And I am just telling you, it's not as good as advertised. You know what? Okay, here's the deal. If you have 2 hours you're like Gordon Ramsay, and you woke up late, and you're like, how am I going to cook Thanksgiving in 2 hours? You spatchcock. You go, you get those shears, you rip the spine out of that bird.
So you got to cook in there too. Like that's the thing. It's like you want to cook your casseroles and your stuffing and
in the oven.
Like even like rolls and stuff like that. And so you could use the oven.
Well, just like the Native Americans, you have 2 ovens.
Yeah. just use your second oven.
Just use your second oven. Just buy another house with 2 ovens and then have dinner there.
Why are you just leaving your second oven, not doing anything?
Right.
Work?
Be careful with the deep fryers, by the way.
Yeah,
I've been hearing, I've seen that process.
I mean, if worst comes to worst, just send your butler to go get a pre-cooked.
Just get your cake if you run out of bread. Okay, let's transition.
Yeah.
Favorite. First of all, is what's better, the turkey or the tofurkey or the what's up, Nolan, or the duck or whatever you got going, or the sides. Are you a sides person or are you the turkey person? What's your favorite?
Okay, usually
and how has your opinion changed since you were 12?
The way I'm going to frame this is I'm going to try to remember back to Thanksgivings and think whether or not I like the side or the turkey more. And I think it was always a side, not necessarily one in particular.
Yeah.
But the turkey usually isn't the best part of the meal.
Oh! I'm telling your mom you just said that. Oh my God. I'm telling everyone who cooked you a turkey ever that you just said that. But go ahead.
I don't know. I might be a carbs guy though, because I don't know. I really appreciate stuffings a lot more you know, and even like the potato dishes.
Yeah.
Those ones usually rock it. You know what I mean? Now,
or like, what is turkey without gravy on top? So, I mean, I'm
just saying, like sometimes the turkey's great, but even then, the most interesting and memorable part of the dish seems to be like a stuffing. You know what I mean? So
no, 100%. When I was 12, I didn't even like turkey. It was like, I want everything else. Give me a little piece of turkey. The older I got, to this day, I'm a leg man. You know, I like to just grab one of those giant turkey legs and watch everyone watch me eat it. And they're like, you're an animal. And I'm like, I am doing my best to eat the turkey while you guys all suck down dinner rolls, you lazy, not turkey loving people. That's what I think.
The weird thing is like, there's only one person. There'll always be that second turkey leg just staring at you because only one person out of 12 will actually do that. And that always surprises me.
Right. And I love the turkey leg. Like, it's a lot of turkey.
I'll eat that, man. Yeah,
but
everybody,
and since I started making turkeys, turkey became my favorite part. I will tell you that. But I still like I like
jump on top of it and just.
How do you spatchcock a turkey leg? You tell me, okay? No, I for sure, mashed potatoes and gravy. Gravy. Let's just talk about gravy by itself. Without gravy, I don't even want the mashed potatoes. Without the gravy, I almost don't want any of this. So the gravy is critical. My grandmother, she made the best gravy.
Yeah.
It was not sweet. It was more of a thick with 3 C's, savory, salty gravy made of turkey and turkey. She made it hardcore with like the remainder of the turkey, which is really.
That's what I do.
Right. It's the best way to do it. But it's also just like, kids, you're going to learn a little bit of biology on Thanksgiving. You don't know this yet. But turns out an animal that you see ready to eat is like not the animal it once was. And some people, some brand manufacturer, turkey poultry producers, they shove all the giblets and the throats and the. Go search what a giblet is. A giblet. Search what it is on the internet, little kids. It's great. And then put it in your gravy before you serve it up. It's delicious. Green bean casserole, huge green bean casserole. Here's a funny story. I got green bean casserole. If you don't do it right with fresh green beans, then just use the can. Okay? Because if you have like really fresh green beans in your green bean casserole without some sort of new cooking process, it turns into like this weird crappy salad. That's what
I've given up. You know what? Like I would rather do a Brussels sprouts with mushrooms.
So good.
Yeah. And like that's like an homage to the green bean casserole,
Right.
but better.
I've had I say put your mushrooms and onions on top of your green bean casserole and then cover it all with gravy and then get turkey. That's what I say. And okay, one more thing about turkey. Turkey is so good the next day, right? And the day after, and you have to have some mustard. And if you're crazy like me, maybe a little bit of mayonnaise.
I make those sandwiches. I take the turkey, the cranberry, and usually even the green bean casserole, and I put it in different layers with some mayo on some bread. And pretty damn good. It's a quality sandwich, man.
Those is when the turkey comes into full force. For like the next 2-3 days, I love the quick sandwich.
Yeah.
So get extra dinner rolls.
All right. Listen, I want just a little bit of time with this last thing about controversy at the table. How do you deal with it?
Oh, man. Well, what I normally do is bite a red wine glass, pouring it all over me, slamming my hands on the table, and threatening to cut someone with the broken glass. That's probably the go-to Matt Shapiro dinner time move when my grandmother's nearby.
Man, so okay. The first thing is, I think that if you got choices on where you could be on Thanksgiving, then choose wisely. That's the first thing, right? Don't like. You only live once, and life is short. And
so eat that wine glass.
Yeah, you know what I mean. What I'm saying is like if you get to choose if you have a choice between like more than one option, then make that choice. Don't feel like you're forced.
Even if you got to go to one place, where you sit at the table is often not okay. Sit down with the kids in the back. You know what I mean?
So what I'm saying is you don't always have to put yourself in a situation that you know is going to be contentious. All
and go ahead.
The next thing is like if you know that like if you're going someplace or somebody's coming to you and there's going to be animosity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like one thing is if they know that you're a debater, they're just gonna dismiss you. All right, is one thing. It's like, oh, you're just debating me or something like that, as if you can't have a genuine thought or feeling and voice it or something like that. So just be prepared.
Like me.
Yeah, be prepared for that. Like when you choose to debate, people just like use it against you all the time. They don't listen to you, and they probably didn't listen to you in the first place. They're just using it as a reason to not listen to you now. So be prepared for that. If you're listening to this and you're a debater, or you teach debate or anything like that, so that's one thing.
I would really take a hard line on a couple. When I say hard line, that's a bad choice of words. I would really look in the mirror, okay. And I would say this. I am a person who really relishes in listening to people say insane things, right? So I will inquire further, silently almost agreeing just to hear how far their rabbit holes go. But some people I realize get, very triggered. Okay, I'm going to use that word, triggered, often by things that are very valid reasons to be mad. But what I would suggest is, if you're trying to keep the peace, just like the original Thanksgiving, I guess, mentally prepare yourself to hear things that you will not like. Yeah. Tell yourself, I'm going to go in here and hear things I don't like. And that way when you hear them, you go, yep, I knew it. This is what I was going to hear. And just take sting off, because like any real debater knows, it's like, when you're in debate, when you're in a round, you're not trying to persuade Jared. You're trying to persuade the judge, right?
There's no judge.
There is no judge. And and you can pretend like everyone else at the table is a judge, but they're not a judge, and it's your grandmother, and it's your, whatever. The point is just, you cannot change someone's mind.
But the other thing is,
not at a dinner table in the open forum where someone's preaching at you with some. Think of someone talking to you with the same resolve as you talk to them. They're not going to change your mind. And if there was a venue to change their mind, I don't personally think it's going to be in this open public forum with everyone's eyes, and like you're going to just win You're just gonna
Yeah.
outclass them right now. No, like that's never gonna happen.
It's not how it
It's
happens.
never gonna happen. You're going to have to serve them up with like 10,000 memes and over the 10 years to deprogram. I mean, like it's not gonna happen like that. So, and it's the same as if I was debating with Jared and I was gonna try to just convince him that he was wrong. Like that doesn't happen. Not like that. And even if they did think that, they probably wouldn't. People's pride, you know. So just I'll let you talk. Sorry, Jared.
So the thing that you can do instead of like arguing with somebody is ask them questions.
Right.
Ask them questions about like it's
but like not angrily and
yeah, like seriously, don't
look curious.
It's like well,
where are your clan rallies held? Yeah. Oh, Thursdays. Huh? Okay, I see.
So, like, oh, you mean you're an idiot? So that's what it is. That's not the question I'm talking about. All right, you like legitimately ask a question. It's like, well, how would I know if you're right? You know what I mean?
Right.
How would it's like, what type of evidence would I need to see that your point? You know what I mean? It's like, or are you saying I should just like take your word for it? Like, because I've seen other things that contradict what you're saying. What should I do with this other information?
I got a last ditch effort for everyone. If everything gets hotter than the gravy, just leave. Right? There's no reason to get angry about this. Don't be throwing no punches over turkey legs, man. That's not okay. Because I'll tell you what's funny. Everyone loses it in the emotions. Argumentation is not it doesn't necessarily mean emotional. It doesn't mean get furious. It's supposed to be like this discourse, this like, oh, I have a point and you have a point and we're discussing our points. No, at Thanksgiving, it's 15 Budweisers in with some reckless person who is unhinged. So if you're like in danger, shut up and get out of there.
Asking you questions, right? It's like, so one thing is like ask people questions and let them answer honestly and don't try to come over the top. But if they ask you questions, really short, direct answers. If they ask you a yes or no question, give them a yes or no answer. And if they become unhinged and go off, let them, and then get back into asking them questions.
Right.
Okay, like so, treat it more like not cross-examination, because that's still.
Don't. That's what I'm saying. Cross-examination has like, and then you were wrong, weren't you? And then you messed up, right? And then you overcooked the turkey, didn't you? And it's like, no. Just, how did you get into that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you have a friend, Mark? Oh, okay. What's he do?
Wait, I mean, something simple like where did you hear that from? How do I know?
But not where did you hear that from? It's there's a tenor, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You gotta play it cool. That actually works in debate too. Like you will get someone to answer you better if you're just kind of like, oh, like so. What do you mean? And not like, well, aren't you an idiot? Yes, you are. Yeah, no.
Like be serious. Because like, listen, I'm really interested in knowing what's true, and if you have an inside line to the truth, I'd like any help. So where are you getting this information from? I'd like to broaden my my sources.
Reality.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I want to see what you see and draw my own conclusions. But if you want, like, I still say stand firm. It's like I'm going to totally take a look at that, and some things are just going to be unresolved at the end of it. Which could be unresolved. It's like,
hey man, I bought a book on reptile people and it's in my house right now. Just because, can you believe it?
All right, everybody. Man. Hey, have a happy Thanksgiving. Okay, this is Matt Shapiro, Jared Miller. Maybe Tim Seavey will be here next time. Maybe he won't. I don't know. He might be.
Congratulations to those cats.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll see y'all later. All right. Bye.